Was this season a success for the Pittsburgh Steelers because of the 9 wins, or do missing the playoffs trump that narrative? And I want to start this one off, actually. On your mark, get set, let's go. You see, let me take a quick sip of this water, right? And while I do that, like, subscribe, y'all, share the video. I got to make sure I got mileage, okay? Because I went to college, right? Even though that don't really apply to what we're talking about right now. But, the wisdom is there. I think for me, and I'm going to answer this question off rip, it trumps everything, not making the playoffs, okay? Because a lot of people, they know my take on Mike Tomlin, my famous overrated take. And I had about 3 people. Zay, you sent it in the chat. I know you strategically did that to get at me, okay? Listen, I'm not, I'm a guy. I know what I know that's why you did it. My dad did it, and a couple other people. And I'm saying to myself, why are you sending me this out of all the stuff that we could be talking about yesterday? The coaches that made the playoffs, the games that we were watching, you made it an effort to send that to me like I'm supposed to. Oh, wow. They didn't make the playoffs. I don't want to talk about it. But Cuzzo, kind of want to, start this one off because we had a debate on the last show that we did, right?
Hit me with it.
Intense debate. And what's crazy? I thought about it over the weekend. You made a very famous take for 99 Cent about Kevin Durant, saying that Kevin Durant is the most overrated basketball player, not in today, but in history. And then, ironically, we did a show a couple days ago, talking about which player in the NBA we feel could eclipse Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point record. And out of all the guys that you could have you chose Kevin Durant. Now, in the quote that you said, right, and I have it here, and Zay, if we have to throw the challenge flag to review the tape, we can do so. We could mute the button and do so. You said, I hate Kevin Durant, right? I'm quoting you. I don't like Kevin Durant, but I feel that he can do it. So a lot of people be like, oh, well, hate, that's a little strong word. Even though, Cuzzo, I know you don't hate the guy. You explained yourself earlier, and I know what you mean. But a lot of people going to take the word hate, even though I said Mike Tomlin. I like Mike Tomlin. I'm constantly drilling that in. I like Mike Tomlin, but he's overrated. Now, why this is interesting to me is because I know exactly what you mean. Although I disagree, right? I'll probably say Harden or one of those other guys. But you said Kevin Durant, and you outlined your facts to back it up. And even though I respectfully disagree, I saw where you're coming from. Basically, with your Kevin Durant argument, it's like, okay, hold up. He's the best player in the world today, according to some. Top 10 all time, according to most. But yet, he has done nothing individually to justify it. Okay? And you went to the playoffs and all that. And I'm like, I get it. So when I came and called Mike Tomlin a little bit overrated, I kind of did the same thing. He won a chip, KD won a chip. But I'm saying to myself, wait, hold up. These last couple years in the playoffs, something is missing. The Lombardi. And a lot of people said this. You said it. My dad said it. Well, Bill Belichick was in the way. Yeah. Well, LeBron James was in the way. For Kevin Durant. There's always going to be a star in the way. But at the end of the day, if you're that guy that we hold to that standard, you got to overcome that. Okay? Right. So at the end of the day, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, yes, Hall of Fame quarterback for Hall of Fame quarterback. GOAT for a Hall of Fame quarterback. But Bill Belichick made the X and O's adjustments to out-scheme Mike Tomlin. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm damn sure not saying he's a top 5 coach. He's a top 10 coach in the league. But he's a little bit overrated. Okay. And I think we use this, losing season argument, which is an accomplishment. Yeah, let's celebrate it on the street. But at the end of the day, all I did was make my take about him being a little bit overrated. I bought the facts, and that was that. Go ahead. Mike's yours.
To be fair, I love how he looped this in. My cousin is a wizard. You know what I mean? Give him props for that, man. Seriously, that was good loop in with the Kevin Durant thing. And I'm very passionate about Kevin Durant. And I stand on everything that I said about Kevin Durant. To answer the question right off the rip, this is not something to celebrate. When you don't make the playoffs, I'm about winning. When you don't make the playoffs, there's nothing to celebrate. So just to be fair and clear, the only thing Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers can do at this point is say, okay, we got that young quarterback in. He got some reps. He showed us that he can win some games, that we can win some games with him. We can coincide We finished the season off really strong. We didn't ain't like they lost, and that's why they didn't make the playoffs. They did win. They gave themselves at the end of the season a chance to get into the playoffs. Things didn't unfold for them. It happened. Like Seattle, they did win the game, and then Green Bay lost. They in the playoffs, right? They needed some help. Fine, it's nothing to celebrate. But I think Mike Tomlin could look at that and say, you know what, man, this is something that I could use in the future as a young quarterback I got now, and we can win some games together. They could build some chemistry together from a positive perspective. I think that's what people was talking to you about. But let's break this, really all of this back down of your analogy with Kevin Durant. Because to me, you went way over here. No disrespect to Mike Tomlin. He's not close to Bill Belichick. He's not coach on the all-time list of head coaches. If all-time head coaches, from the Lombardis to the not Joe Seifert, Bill Walsh,
Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells. If you want to go to these cats right here, no, he's not on those dudes' level. Kevin Durant is being put on those dudes' level. He is being put in the same breath of the all-time greats. Mike Tomlin is not being put in the breath of the all-time greats, although he was going against the all-time greatest and Bill Belichick. Okay, so it's not even close because Kevin Durant is being put on the same plateau of the discussions of the top 10 NBA players of all times, and he did absolutely nothing, in my personal opinion, as an individual, because the only reason why we're doing it is to win championships. He won 2 championships with Golden State. I could have put Paul George over there with Golden State with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They could have still won 2 championships. I could have put Kawhi Leonard there. I could have put anybody else there. They would have won championships. He didn't. That's Mike Tomlin call. Okay, he didn't do nothing that made me say top 10 all times, the numbers or whatever. No, with the winning aspect as well. He's not better than Hakeem Olajuwon, who took 2 teams to a championship. No, he's not. But some people say he is, because people don't have Hakeem Olajuwon top 10, but they got Kevin Durant. This is just my point. Mike Tomlin is not on the same plateau as Bill Belichick. He's not. He's just not. But when you say that he was overrated, what people basically were saying is that, dude, this is a dude that sustained a full career in the NFL as a head coach and a winning season head coach. He's not having horrible seasons, and sometimes he have horrible talent. Like this year, with a rookie quarterback with, I think TJ Watt went down. That's his best defensive player. I think he was out for like 9 games. He still finds way to win games. So when you use the word overrated to Mike Tomlin, we say, man, but then use this to other coaches as well. It seems like you was just picking on Mike Tomlin in some people's eyes. Clearly in my eyes, because I don't see you do that to other coaches, right? When Sean Payton was having bad seasons in New Orleans and they was with Drew Brees, 6-10. Nobody was saying he was overrated.
Like, think about it. But they could have won.
But nobody was saying that Sean Payton was overrated. So I had wanted you to see it. So I'm like, why is he coming at Mike Tomlin like this?
It's funny because
they come at other coaches like that as
they
well.
knows that I've been actually coming at secretly. Like I said, I haven't done it on the show because we haven't really talked about it. There's one guy I've been coming at, Zay, for good measure. Name one guy I've been coming at in the chat recently. Wait, you know him.
Harbaugh recently.
Yup, exactly. There you go. I've been coming at Harbaugh. John Harbaugh recently.
Okay, for both.
So I've been coming at coaches recently. It's just that the Mike Tomlin one, when I said it, it got the most feedback. So that's why it's like it kind of cornered me to I have to make myself clear every single time now because y'all didn't get the message. So that's why the Mike Tomlin one is on the pedestal.
Right. It's just that when you see that consistency of Mike Tomlin, and I've seen holes in other people's resumes as head coaches, I just got to give him a tribute to say, man, this dude is doing something well, and I don't want to take it as a negative. And like I was telling you before when we had this conversation, this is a man that's a Hall of Fame coach, and he shouldn't be dropped out of the Hall of Fame just because he have lack of talent at this point. Let me see this dude play with, one time, the best player in the NFL. He never had the best player in the NFL. And when you have luxury,
like like the chance of having the best player in the NFL, like that, come on.
Yeah. Okay. A top 5 player in the NFL.
Antonio Brown was.
No, he wasn't a top 5 player in the NFL.
Yeah, he was the best wide receiver in the league.
He was the best wide receiver in the league, but he wasn't no top 5 player.
That's different though. Like I said, the odds of that. Like
what I'm saying is
Le'Veon Bell, he had 2 of the top 5 plays in all of football. 2 of the top 5 plays that they respective
Their
positions
position.
in all
No
of
doubt.
football on the
No
same
doubt.
team at one time with a
And
Hall
to
of
be
Fame
fair,
coach, with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
and to be fair, when he had but to be fair, when he had those players, they was winning.
Yeah, and
They was
they
winning.
just
They didn't win the Super
underachieved.
Bowl, but they was winning. They was
But
going
they
to championship
underachieved
games.
though.
They was. How did they underachieve? They lost to the Patriots.
But they when you assemble a team like that, your goal is to win a championship. They
But,
didn't.
yeah, but you lost to the Patriots though.
And then you like I said, you had losses to Blake Bortles and Tebow. So it's like all I'm saying is that I
You
think some
still
of
got
his
some
all
bad losses,
time,
but a
and
lot
I'm
of
gonna let
coaches
Zay
got
get in
bad
here. I know
losses.
Zay ready to get in here. I'm gonna just end
Yeah,
here
get in there.
and then get second last. I just say some of his all time, status is a little bit overrated, and especially today's. Like a lot of people have told me, and I debated people on this, that he's still a top 5 coach. And then I'm just like, wait, I don't see that right now because he hasn't won anything major to be put in that category.
Right.
Andy
Real
Reid won a
quick before
Super
you
Bowl
get in there,
recently.
Zay.
Sean
Real
McVay
quick.
won a Super Bowl easily,
Right.
recently. So
This is what I said to you. To be fair, in my quote, it's arguable that he's a top 10 head coach. And I said arguable, and I remember it. And you was like, no.
I agree. Like it's arguable to put him in the top 10, but top 5? Now we stretching that. Now that's a stretch.
No.
Top 5. Go ahead, Zay.
Just to answer the question real quick, was the season a success? I always say every team, every organization has a different term of success. Some teams is Super Bowl right away, like the Bills.
Right.
Other teams is winning record, Detroit Lions. So the different aspects of success. I think when you look at this team, this Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're leaning more towards a winning season because coming into the season, their roster wasn't complete. They had a running back who was walking in with a foot injury, with a dismantled offensive line, with Deontay Johnson and Claypool as their receivers 1 and 2, with their drafted receiver and George Pickens, who we didn't know how he was going to fit in this receiving core, if he was going to take over, get more reps, play the pine. We don't know what was going to happen. So I would say personally that this season was a success for the Steelers, not based upon their history, not based upon their historical context of winning championships or going to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. It was a victory, a success for them because they got the best out of Kenny Pickett that they could have gotten this season. Coming off the bench, playing the way he played, getting the best out of George Pickens when he played, getting production out of Najee Harris, who was hurt. Who was hurt coming into the season, and then also a dismantled offensive line that couldn't protect anybody. They couldn't stop a door from closing. And I say all that to say, it's a product of Mike Tomlin having a winning attitude, always pushing his players to get the best out of them, to put wins on the record. They were 2-7 at one point. The fact that they finished the season 7-2 was amazing. It's amazing. I'm not going to take that away.
It's funny that you bring that up, right? And Zay, matter of fact, close. You close that. I don't want to cut you off.
I just want to say, the narrative of him being an overrated coach, essentially, right? Because it's not just like one person saying it. It's a couple people saying it. It's a couple people saying it. And
Terry Bradshaw said that, and he was a former quarterback of the team. I guess he's racist because he's white for saying that, right?
No. But that's the underline there, though.
Race is crazy, but Bradshaw, he's not. He don't say a lot of things right though. That's one thing too.
Right.
Bradshaw, he's not a guy who says like his accuracy of things saying right is actually under 50%. Like this man is actually not accurate what he says.
I think he said the one thing that he said right was right. But go ahead. That one thing.
I close out to say that Mike Tomlin always 16 seasons in, I believe, or 17. I forgot how many years he coached so far. Winning record. You can't overlook that. Now playoff wins, championships, that gets more in depth in conversation when you compare him to coaches and stuff like that. But we talk about his record as a head coach. He has yet to lose in the NFL, and that means something. And that means something to a lot of people.
Now, I want to jump in here because you brought up record and how they started, which was very tumultuous. 2-6. You talk about that record right there. But one could argue the reason why they were 2-6 is because they made the wrong call at quarterback. Sometimes those decisions could impact your season. Had he started Kenny Pickett, like I said, modernize your way of thinking. We know that if you coach a guy right and he's young, not every quarterback can play week 1 off the rip. But if you can coach him right and put a good ecosystem around him, you could probably make the playoffs in year 1 with that guy. So a lot of people think that, getting that veteran there and starting him off, I see pros and cons. I'm not going to always say start the rookie. It depends on the rookie. It depends on what I've seen in practice. But based on what I've seen, third string, at every practice and in the preseason, he never gave him a shot doing that job. That was, I signed Mitch to be the guy week 1. So you didn't give him a shot. That's the reason why y'all season was shot, because you start off 2-6. Now, let's go to some of those losses that they had before they turned the season around. They had lost to the Patriots and the Dolphins, 2 teams that was battling for that last seed. They lost to both of them, 17-14, I believe, to the Patriots, 16-10 to the Dolphins, and the Jets, 24-20 at home, the game that Mitch was benched in. So you talk about that and look at the context of the winning season here. Because, winning season, like I said, we celebrate that. But I don't think we should be celebrating that this year because they didn't make the playoffs. Look at the teams that they beat.
I agree.
Right? The 2 teams that I see them beating, that they beat already, that's like of substance, is the Bengals week 1, who was 0-3 to start off the year, and the Buccaneers, who was a down year. It was a down year for the Buccaneers. We barely got in there. So they had no impressive victories. Everything about this team was mediocre. Their quarterback is good. And Kenny Pickett. I wasn't a fan of him because he wasn't explosive. He's not explosive. He reminds me of a richer Teddy Bridgewater. And that's a compliment because Teddy Bridgewater, before he got hurt, he made the playoffs. He moved the chains. He's a richer version of that. He can move the chains and do a little mobility. But from a physical perspective, he's a richer Teddy Bridgewater to me. Everything about this team and their philosophy is so mediocre. And I'm thinking it's going to hinder them in the future. Yeah, you could look at them having the draft pick for Chase Claypool, that trade. You could look at that in the 9 wins and say, okay, I believe this team, there's confidence. But if you don't expand on where you left off, and how do you expand? Experience is one thing, but just like changing a few things and modernizing is another. And that's why I just think that I'm not really celebrating a team missing the playoffs, respectfully.
No, you can't. I agree with that.